with meteorologist Julia Blanchett.
If a stray shower later this afternoon is able to venture away from the high country, it could reach you here in western Colorado. This morning we woke up to some water on our roadways and maybe even those windshields, and now things are expected to be pretty clear. There isn't much activity right off the bat. We are in the 60s and the 50s, which is pretty chilly for some, so maybe a light jacket on the way out the door. But the catch is at lunchtime, cloud coverage starts to approach. The cloud coverage will appear innocent at first before it allows a little bit of moisture to form over some of the high country areas. And some of those showers are actually pretty probable to make it down to the low valleys. So for the Delta area, we could see some passing precipitation. Montrose will most certainly see some rain. And along the I-70 corridor, we have a little bit of action as well. And once we get to about the 4 to 5 o'clock hour, Grand Junction develops a storm cell of its own. That includes thunder and lightning. So plan your evenings accordingly. It also hits the Delta area and continues to track along the high country all the way out to Gunnison. So it's not out of the question to see rain today, but how probable are we to see rain today? The Grand Junction area, a 30% chance for rain today. Montrose, also a 30% chance for rain today. And in Delta, something very similar, a 30% chance. But in Cortez, we're not as lucky. We're staying pretty dry down near that southern corner today. That is the opposite of the trend we will adapt here in a few days, but nonetheless, moisture could come and go in waves. Of course, smaller showers as a possibility throughout your Tuesday. But your rainfall forecast shows everything getting a little bit more intense day by day, because by Wednesday, a 20% chance for moisture enters the forecast. By Thursday, we evolve that to a 40% chance, and by Friday, we evolve that to a 50% chance. These are the numbers for Grand Junction, but for other locations such as Montrose, we're looking at a 50% chance on Thursday, evolving to a 60% chance on Friday. So rain is definitely going to be bothersome later this week. We'll be getting a couple different directions of moisture flow up into the western slope, but by Saturday and Sunday, if you're like me and enjoy the weekends outside, you might be happy to know that there is no moisture on the way for Saturday and Sunday. Things will be a little bit colder as we come out of that rain, but things should be a lot drier. Taking a last look at the why behind our weather setup is making us get rid of our high pressure ridge, which is what's been keeping us warm and dry. We're kicking that out of the way and off to the east, as you see here. And this low pressure trough starts to push towards Grand Junction and Colorado as a whole. And you can see the cooler colors on those isobars reaching Grand Junction, allowing us to cool down, but with that comes a lot of rain. So that would be the responsible factor behind all the precipitation on the way. We need the moisture. It's been way too dry, and today it's still pretty warm. So your highs today in Grand Junction, 86 degrees, in Delta about 89, Montrose 83, and in Cortez 85 degrees. And your lows overnight, they're in the 60s and the 50s, which means we are a little bit on the cooler side, but you just wait, because later this week those things will drop even further. The 7-day forecasts don't hold any surprises. Grand Junction has a 30% chance for rain today, about a 20% chance tomorrow. Things mellow out, but then the main storm wave moves in on Thursday and Friday, and we expect to dry out by the weekend. Our temperatures will cool as our chance for moisture trends upwards. The Montrose area is partly cloudy today with the possibility of a shower or two, but we have more scattered thunderstorm activity on Thursday and Friday. The peak hours of those storm systems, or the peak days for the storm system in Delta, are exactly the same, and our temperatures cool from the 80s down to the 70s throughout this process and going into this upcoming weekend. Last but not least, the Cortez area is in the 80s, and they drop to the 70s to cool down as that moisture becomes a little bit more relevant.